Hello, we're Lance and Stephanie Luthesser. We're aboard Starplath, our Nordhavn 40. We're here in Dana Point, California after having spent the summer in Alaska. We just returned from Skagway and Glacier Bay. We travel with our dog, our trusty mate, Tabby.
We decided on a Nordhavn because Lance had been in NOAA on a ship that went to Tahiti and all these fun places, and he wanted to kind of experience that again and find a boat that could do that. So he found a Nordhavn. We just lived down the road in San Clemente at the time, so he had seen these in the marina and just fell in love with it. So take it away.
Well, I think if you dream about going a long distance, there are very few power boats, small power boats, capable of doing that, and I think when you really start looking, Nordhavn stands head and shoulders above the rest if you really have that dream. And we still have that dream.
This is our third year to spend about 6 months on the boat, living here full-time. And our first trip was to make Zihuatanejo. Many cruisers want to make that one goal, and we did, and that was our first big cruise. And then last year we took the boat north, and I'll let Lance tell that part.
Well, we started in Ensenada. Our home base is Rosarito, Mexico. We started in Ensenada and took the boat north. It was an interesting and exciting trip, and actually very uneventful as things turned out. We had two weather windows that we had to wait for. One was in Santa Barbara, not a bad place to hang out, and we waited there for about a week waiting for the seas to die down to go around Point Conception. And when we did, the going was very smooth, almost like a lake. And then we had another 9-day stop in Bodega Bay, or as the locals like to refer to it, Blodega Bay. And it was really windy, and even the fishermen were hanging around port there with us. So there was a bunch of us, probably 6 or 8 boats heading north, all piled up there, and when the weather finally broke, we had again almost a mill pond going from there up to Cape Flattery. We took the boat inside Tatoosh Island on an absolutely picture-perfect May day, and that was a real milestone to get up the coast and round Cape Flattery and know that we had made it. We spent the summer of 2009 cruising in British Columbia, primarily Desolation Sound and the Broughtons. A very lovely cruising ground, and we had absolutely exquisite weather.
Caught lots of crab, great fun. Anchoring is to die for up there. So anyone thinking of cruising, you got to remember you're going to have a lot of time on the anchor, and it's great, quiet, great fun. Love it.
Yeah, the attraction of that area is the protected waters. It's very user-friendly. Let's put it that way. This is comfort cruising, as a lot of us like to say. And so we spent a very pleasant summer in 2009. Left the boat in the Seattle area over the winter, and then returned in May of 2010. And then cruised north to Alaska.
Truly north to Alaska, singing the song the whole time. But loved it. We hit a few weather spots going up around, what was it, Cape Caution?
Cape Caution is one opening where you're exposed to the ocean.
You get to go through customs back and forth. That's why we have a Nordhavn. That's kind of entertaining. You got to keep that in mind too. Keep your papers straight, all that. And Canadians were so friendly and helpful, and so were the Alaskans. I love just the atmosphere up there. Of course, it's not just cruisers, it's cruise ships. Don't expect it to be really the final frontier, as they call it. So we had a lot of fun up there. We went to Skagway and Haines and Glacier Bay, of course. So had big bear spotting in Glacier. That was the highlight of my season was the bears. So, what was the highlight of yours?
Well, I think the glaciers probably. That was pretty fantastic.
Yeah, filming the boat. Lance got in the dinghy and took off while I was putting as close as I dared to the glacier, and he took some great shots. And then the thing calved right behind me, and fortunately I had all the doors shut, so I didn't hear it and have a heart attack.
But it created, when the glacier calved, such a large piece fell down that it actually created I'd say about a 2 to 3 foot wave, and the boat was rolling, and I thought Stephanie would surely wonder what on earth has happened, because it really makes a loud cracking sound when that happens. But she was closed up, and
I didn't hear it.
It was cold, so she had all the doors and windows closed, and she didn't even hear it.
Yeah, but I did notice the rocking. It was just part of the fun. I mean, I think that was the glacier part was great. And the bears and just the anchoring and all. I love it up there. I love the smoothness of the waters, I have to admit. I don't like rough.
And so, having traveled from Zihuatanejo, Mexico, to Glacier Bay and Skagway, Alaska, and pretty much every place in between, we now have our 10,000-mile
Burgee
Nordhavn distance pennant. So now we're working on the next 10,000.
Yeah. So that's fun. That is cool. I really am glad to get that.
On our Mexico trip, we stayed primarily, well, of course we had to cruise down Baja to get there, but then we went from Cabo over to Mazatlan and then cruised primarily the mainland coast. And we did not go into the Sea of Cortez, so our plan for the upcoming winter season will probably leave in January or February of 2011. Our plan is to cruise the Sea of Cortez, so we'll head down to La Paz and probably hang around the Costa Baja Marina for a while, and then
drink a few cervezas.
Oh yeah, have a few of those for sure. We'll spend some palapa time for sure, and then cruise that area. And the water's supposed to be beautiful. Everyone we talk to that goes to La Paz likes it. So Mexico cruising is hard to beat.
And then our next big trip we're trying to plan maybe for the fall of 2011 is to go at least to Costa Rica. We honeymoon there, so that's kind of a goal. And then I'd like to go on down to Galapagos, because Lance has been there too, and I haven't. So, and then come back. I'm not quite ready for the Tahiti run. We'll see. We'll just kind of play that one by ear. So that's what's next.
The neat thing about the 40, though, is you know that you can do anything that the big boats can. So it's kind of cool having a 40-footer, knowing if we want to go to the Marquesas, if we want to cross the Pacific, we can do it. A 76 can do it, an 86 can do it, a 47 can do it, sure, but so can we.
I know.
And that's neat.
We're even trying to figure out how to do Easter Island, because Lance also got to Easter Island, and it's very difficult because of fuel. But we're still trying, because we would be the first 40-foot Nordhavn to make Easter Island.
Yeah, we kind of dreamed about being the first Nordhavn, but unfortunately the egret beat us to it. They're having a real adventure.
Yeah.
When we got the boat, our salesman, James Leishman, was very helpful in assisting us in deciding what options would be appropriate for us, and that's going to be a key decision for anyone buying a cruising boat. We had an objective, probably a lot of people that buy the 40-foot Nordhavn might, of keeping it pretty simple. One of the great advantages of having a relatively small boat is that the maintenance chores are proportionately easier. And we've found that to be very true on this boat. We have what I would call the usual options, most of them, that a cruising boat would have. In addition to the obviously the main engine propulsion, we have a generator. The boat's equipped with air conditioning because we plan on spending a lot of time in the warm climates. We have a wing engine for emergency backup. We have
that we haven't had to ever use.
No, we've never had to use that. What other key options?
Well, you put in a water maker. That wasn't.
Yeah, we added a water maker later on. We have relatively simple electronics on this boat. We actually don't have anything redundant. So we have radar, chart plotter, GPS, autopilot, just one of each of those. One VHF radio. We don't have a single sideband radio, so it's difficult for us to communicate with all those sailboaters out there that have sometimes very good information about what's happening down the road. So single sideband, I think, might be helpful, particularly cruising Mexico, where the communication options are limited. We do have a sat phone. That's turned out to be very handy. And
equipment-wise, we don't have active fin stabilizers. We have paravanes.
No, we decided to have the paravanes, again, for simplicity, virtually no maintenance, very little chance for anything to go wrong with those, and they are very effective. We also decided not to have a flying bridge on the boat.
That was more, you like the look.
Yeah.
That's just a personal.
For me, I think it's just a personal thing. I mean, aesthetics. We look more
shippy this way.
Aesthetics-wise, yeah. It's a little ship. I don't particularly fancy having a flying bridge on a sea boat, but others do, and it's a personal thing.
One thing you got that you love is the oil. What's that system?
Oh yeah, the oil change system makes changing oil very simple. Very simple. Highly recommended.
Yeah.
What else?
And maintenance, you just do it. I mean, like
I do my own maintenance. I do all of my own maintenance, which again is not terribly complicated. I have a little bit of mechanical background. I used to tinker with engines, and so I'm comfortable with that. I adjust the valves on the main engine myself. It's an easy job. It takes maybe, I don't know, 30 minutes, 45 at the most. Changing oil and fuel filters regularly and keeping an eye on things. The maintenance is really minimal. At least it's been so far.
I can say that for sure.
Yeah.
He doesn't spend that much time doing that. We just play. We love it. We cruise and play. Spent another 6 months on the boat and had a ball. I mean, every once in a while you have a little excitement, something. It's always something different. But next year, can't wait to start over again. So we're enjoying our boat. We look at each other and go, what would we be doing if we didn't have the boat? Because we're retired and...
Even though we don't look like it.
Yeah. Yeah, speak for yourself. Or maybe speak for me. Anyway, we love it, and I recommend it. And we certainly recommend Nordhavn because we've had such incredible fun on this boat.
It does. Boating keeps you young. There's no question about that. It keeps you active, keeps you thinking about things that you never even...
You're planning. If you don't have anything, if you're just sitting in front of television, there's no planning. So there's the planning phase and then the doing phase. And the doing part's the fun. But the planning's fun too, but I think all of it. In Nordhavn, we love it.
Can't beat it.